The Eiffel Tower was supposed to be destroyed. When it was built for the 1889 World's Fair, its fate was sealed. Paris only planned to keep it standing for 20 years. A giant iron skeleton towering over the city, meant to be nothing more than a temporary showcase of engineering. Tune in to the next chapter of its story, where the Eiffel Tower's secrets go even deeper. Secrets that might just change how you see this legendary monument forever. The Iron Giant that was never meant to stay. Back in the late 1800s, Paris was gearing up for a big celebration. It had been 100 years since the French Revolution, and they wanted to mark the occasion in style. The city was hosting the Exposition Universelle, a world's fair where countries showed off their latest inventions, art, and culture. France needed something grand to be the centerpiece of the event. Enter Gustave Eiffel, a skilled engineer with a reputation for creating impressive metal structures. His team, including designers Maurice Michelin and Émile Noguer, came up with the idea for a towering iron structure, unlike anything the world had seen before. But as the Iron Giant rose, fierce opposition threatened to tear it down before it even stood tall. At the time, the tallest man-made structure was the Washington Monument in the United States, standing at just over 160 meters. Many believed it was impossible to build anything much taller. But Eiffel had a bold vision. His design proposed a 300-meter tower made of iron lattice, a groundbreaking idea for the time. It was ambitious, risky, and unlike anything that had been attempted before. Still, after years of planning and negotiations, he secured the rights to build it. Construction kicked off in 1887. The tower's base needed 4 strong legs to support its massive height. Since it was so close to the Seine River, 2 of the legs had to have deeper foundations, reaching as far down as 20 meters. Every single piece of the tower, more than 18,000 in total, was crafted with precision and transported by horse-drawn carts from a factory about 4 kilometers away. With over 2.5 million rivets holding it together, the tower slowly took shape. Despite the challenges, the first level was finished in record time, followed by the second level just a few months later. By March 1889, the tower was complete, standing taller than any other structure in the world. But the Eiffel Tower wasn't just about its height, it was also a marvel of engineering. One of the biggest challenges was figuring out how people would get to the top. Unlike normal buildings with straight staircases or elevators, the curved shape of the tower made things tricky. Engineers had to design special lifts that could move along the slanted legs. In those days, elevators weren't as advanced as they are now, so visitors had to switch lifts midway to reach the highest platform. Despite initial doubts, the tower became a massive hit during the Exposition Universelle. Nearly 2 million people visited it, amazed by its size and innovation. But even with all this success, its future was uncertain. Remember, it was only meant to stand for 20 years. By 1909, the city of Paris would take ownership, and many expected it to be torn down. However, a surprising twist changed everything. Eiffel had a plan to save his masterpiece. He knew that a simple tourist attraction might not be enough to justify keeping it around. So he turned the tower into something more. He showed that it could be used for scientific experiments, like studying weather and sending wireless signals. In fact, during the early days of radio, the tower's height made it a perfect place to install antennas. These experiments proved so useful that the city decided to keep the tower standing. The Eiffel Tower wasn't always loved. How the Eiffel Tower saved lives. Over time, the Eiffel Tower became more than just an engineering wonder. It became a symbol of France itself. It survived world wars, harsh weather, and even early criticism from artists and intellectuals who thought it was an eyesore. Today, it remains one of the most visited landmarks in the world, drawing millions of people who come to admire its beauty, history, and the incredible story of how it almost disappeared forever. Looking at it now, it's hard to imagine Paris without the Eiffel Tower. But its survival wasn't just luck. It was the result of clever thinking, innovation, and a bit of good timing. What started as a temporary exhibition piece is now one of the most recognizable structures in the world. And to think, it was almost torn down after just 2 decades. Sometimes history has a way of surprising us. Yet the story doesn't end there. The Eiffel Tower's legacy continues to evolve. It has served as a beacon of progress, a tool of scientific discovery, and a silent witness to history. Through the decades, it has seen the city change, from horse-drawn carriages to high-speed trains, from gas lamps to glowing city lights. It has stood tall through revolutions, world fairs, and global conflicts. The tower, originally dismissed by critics, has become a defining feature of Paris, and its importance only grows as time marches on. During the First World War, the tower played an unexpected but crucial role. French military forces used it to send and intercept radio signals, giving them a significant advantage in communication. The Germans even attempted to jam these signals, but the tower's height made it nearly impossible to disrupt its transmissions completely. In a strange way, the very structure that was nearly scrapped became a strategic asset for national defense. By the time the Second World War rolled around, the Eiffel Tower had already secured its place in history. However, it still faced threats. When the Nazis occupied Paris, Adolf Hitler ordered the tower to be demolished, along with other landmarks in the city. Thankfully, this command was never carried out. The tower remained standing, and by the end of the war, it once again became a symbol of resilience and freedom. Beyond its wartime role, the Eiffel Tower continued to serve scientific and cultural purposes. Engineers installed new radio antennas, helping to expand communication networks across Europe. Television broadcasting also found a home in the tower, solidifying its importance beyond tourism. Even as modern technology advanced, the Eiffel Tower adapted, proving that it was far more than just an old iron structure. Tourism, of course, has been a huge part of its legacy. Millions of visitors from all over the world have stood beneath its towering frame, climbed its steps, and marveled at the view from the top. Countless photographs, movies, and artistic depictions have cemented its place as a must-see destination. It has been the backdrop for romantic proposals, historic events, and celebrations of all kinds. Even maintenance of the tower is a feat of engineering. Every 7 years, workers repaint it to prevent rust and keep it looking pristine. This process takes months, requiring thousands of liters of paint and meticulous attention to detail. The structure may seem timeless, but it requires constant care to remain the shining beacon of Paris. In the present day, the Eiffel Tower continues to inspire. New generations of architects and engineers study its design, finding lessons in its balance of strength and beauty. Tourists continue to flock to it, drawn by the magic of its presence. No longer just a relic of the past, it represents progress, resilience, and the spirit of innovation. The tower, once deemed a temporary attraction, has proven to be anything but temporary. From an ambitious idea to a nearly abandoned project, from a wartime communication tool to a world-famous icon, its story is one of endurance and transformation. The Iron Giant of Paris was meant to last only 20 years, but it has far outlived its original plan, standing strong for more than a century. It was supposed to last only 20 years. Eiffel's gamble. The Eiffel Tower was never meant to last. When it was first built, it was just supposed to be a temporary attraction for the 1889 World's Fair in Paris. A massive iron structure towering over the city, designed to showcase engineering brilliance, but with an expiration date set at 20 years. Once the fair was over, the plan was to tear it down and return the land to its previous state. That was the agreement. But fate had other plans, and this iron marvel found a way to stay put. At first, many saw it as nothing more than an eyesore. Parisians weren't exactly thrilled about having a gigantic metal skeleton dominating their skyline. Critics, including some of the most respected artists and architects of the time, thought it was an ugly stain on the city's elegance. They wrote scathing articles and signed petitions, calling it ridiculous and out of place. Some even went as far as to compare it to a monstrous street lamp or a belfry stripped of its church. They feared it would ruin the classical beauty of Paris, a city known for its grand palaces and delicate architecture. But while some loathed it, others started seeing its potential. As time passed, scientists and engineers realized that having the tallest structure in the world could be incredibly useful. It wasn't just a giant hunk of iron, it was a prime location for all kinds of research. Meteorologists used it to track weather patterns. Astronomers took advantage of its height for clearer observations of the sky. And most importantly, early radio transmission experiments turned it into a critical hub for communication. As the 20th year approached, its usefulness had become undeniable. The French government, originally planning to dismantle it, now had second thoughts. By that point, the tower was being used as a radio transmission station, with a permanent underground radio center built near its south pillar. It was no longer just a monument. It had transformed into an essential part of the city's infrastructure. Because of that, it was allowed to remain standing beyond its original deadline, securing its place in Paris forever. Its survival wasn't just about radio waves and weather reports. The tower played a vital role during wartime. In World War I, it became a secret weapon, used to intercept and jam enemy radio signals, which gave French forces a crucial advantage. The height of the structure allowed long-range communication, which turned the tide of battles. Years later, in World War II, it faced another grave threat. Hitler, who had occupied Paris, ordered its destruction along with the rest of the city. He wanted nothing left standing, but his general in charge, Dietrich von Choltitz, refused to follow through. Instead of razing Paris to the ground, he surrendered the city to the Allied forces, preserving both the Eiffel Tower and the rest of its historical treasures. Because of this decision, von Choltitz is often remembered as the man who saved Paris from complete devastation. As the world moved forward, the Eiffel Tower continued evolving. By the mid-1900s, it was more than just a radio tower. It was a symbol. People from all over the world came to visit, eager to stand beneath the iron arches and take in the breathtaking view from the top. In 1964, it was officially declared a historical monument by the French Ministry of Cultural Affairs. Not long after, efforts were made to preserve it. Engineers and preservationists devised a special blend of paint named Eiffel Tower Brown to coat its structure and protect it from rust. Every few years, workers climb every inch of the tower to reapply this protective layer, ensuring that the monument remains intact for generations to come. Painting isn't just for preservation. It also plays a role in aesthetics. The color isn't uniform, it subtly shifts in 3 different shades, getting darker from top to bottom. This design choice ensures that it blends seamlessly with the Parisian sky, making it even more visually striking. Even though it started as an unwanted addition to the city, it had fully cemented itself as an irreplaceable part of Paris by the late 20th century. One of its most famous modern additions came in 1989, when a stunning lighting display was installed to celebrate its 100th anniversary. Since then, the sparkling golden lights have become as iconic as the structure itself. Every night, the tower comes to life, dazzling spectators from near and far. However, there's an interesting twist. Those very lights are protected by copyright. While anyone can take photos of the Eiffel Tower during the day, the nighttime display is considered a separate work of art. Technically, sharing or selling images of the illuminated tower for commercial purposes requires special permission. While tourists snapping pictures for personal memories aren't affected, professional photographers need to be careful. So what do you think? Should something as public as the Eiffel Tower's nighttime lights be copyrighted? Or should art in public spaces be free for all? Comment below, like, and subscribe.